King James Bible, starting in the book of Genesis all the way through to Revelation. And we are currently in the book of Esther. And I think, are we on 5 or 6?
We are on chapter 5, but we were going to say a prayer before we start. If you have a prayer request, let us know, right?
Absolutely.
So we got a couple of things to pray about. We need you guys to help us pray about this heat. It's getting out of control in the southeast United States. That humidity is tying into it, and it feels like over 100 degrees. Actually, the real temperature is around 100 degrees, and the feel-like temperature is going even higher. So help us pray about that, because it's really been going on quite a bit, and there's still a drought going on as well. When we do get a storm, it can be severe, so we need prayer for that one too. We need rain, but we don't need to be blown away, so to speak. But you guys just help us pray, because it's definitely been very hot in the southeast. Also praying about the wars and rumors of wars, the way the world's carrying on. We need peace. Always pray for lost souls. Always pray for your fellow neighbor, and just remember to thank God for everything too, because He's there for you all the time. If you have a prayer request, please let us know. If anything at all, we're here to pray, right?
That's right.
So let us start praying. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Thine are the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Indeed you are, Lord. So I ask today for your blessing upon our reading, that you help it touch someone. If they come in through here through Truth Inspired, let them be inspired one way or another, Lord. Talk to them, walk with them, let them know they're not alone. Whatever may be going on in people's lives, relationship problems, sickness, confusion of any kind. I know I'm dealing with some things myself, but I know you're there. Let me continue to always know you're there, as well as all of us know that there's nothing too difficult for you, God. Please protect us. Please give us strength. Please give us energy. Please give us guidance. And again, I pray for us to be able to read today, and it touch whomever it may need to touch in the right way, because your word is like a living word, Lord. And I just thank you that we have the ability to actually read it. Again, strength, energy, and guidance, always and forever, help Truth Inspired to grow. Amen. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
All right. That puts us at Esther, chapter 5. Guys, we've been saying a lot of names lately, and somebody even asked why we don't explain stuff as we're reading. We do that in our Bible study. You see the picture there. We do that on Sunday mornings. We actually dive into things. We got a new quarter coming up, too. We're going to be talking about Romans before long, right?
Right.
So you can join us every Sunday if you want. We answer more questions and do stuff with that. However, with the readings we do, usually in the afternoons or on the weekends at random, we usually just read and pray, because we're going to cover. That's what the point of this reading is. And if you do have something you want to know about, though, just like with prayer requests, message us. We're not going to make it be like we don't hear you or we're not going to help you. No. If you got a question about something, want to know about something, message us. And if for some reason we don't know the answer, we will be talking to our pastors, and we'll dig into it a little more, and we'll find out. But I know one thing, it's always good to read the Bible, and that's what the point of all this is. We want to read the Word of God and let it touch us appropriately, right?
Right.
So, chapter 5, right?
Right.
Now it came to pass on the third day that Esther put on her royal apparel and stood in the inner court of the king's house over against the king's house. And the king sat upon his royal throne in the royal house, over against this gate of the house. And now it was so that when this king saw Esther the queen standing in the court, that she now obtained favor in his sight. And the king held out to Esther the golden scepter that was in his hand. So Esther drew near and touched the top of the scepter. And say now the king unto her, What wilt thou, Queen Esther, and what is thy request? It shall be given thee to the half of the kingdom. And Esther answered, If it seem good unto the king, let the king and Haman now come by this day, that come unto the banquet that I have prepared for him. Then the king said, Cause Haman as that make haste, that he may do as Esther hath said. So the king and Haman now come to the banquet that Esther had prepared. And the king said unto Esther, at the banquet of wine, What is thy petition? and it shall be granted thee. And what is thy request? Even to the half of the kingdom, it shall be performed. Then answered Esther, and say, My petition and my request is, if I have found favor in the sight of the king, and if it please the king to grant my petition and to perform my request, let the king and Haman to this now say by come by the banquet that I have prepared for them, and I will do tomorrow as the king hath said. Then went Haman out of this forth by day, joyful and with a glad heart. But when Haman now this saw that Mordecai now this the king's gate, was that he stood not up, nor moved for him, he was full of indignation against Mordecai. Nevertheless, Haman now refrained from himself for this, that when was this come by home that he now sent, and called for his friends, and Zeresh his wife. By this now Haman now told them of this glory of the riches, and of the multitude of his children, and all the things wherein the king had promoted him, and how he had advanced him above the princes and servants of the king. Haman now this say, moreover, Yea, Esther the queen did let no man come in with the king unto the banquet that she had prepared, but myself, and tomorrow am I invited unto her also with the king. Yet all this availeth me nothing, so long as I see Mordecai the Jew sitting at the king's gate. Then said Zeresh his wife by this and his friends unto him, Let a gallows be made of 50 cubits high, and tomorrow speak thou unto the king, that Mordecai may be hanged therein. Then go thou in merrily with the king unto the banquet. And the thing pleased Haman, and he caused the gallows to be made.
On that night could not the king sleep, and he commanded to bring the book of the records of the Chronicles, and they were read before the king. And it was found written that Mordecai had told of Bigthana and Teresh, two of the king's chamberlains, the keepers of the door, who sought to lay hand on the king Ahasuerus. And the king said, What honor and dignity hath been done to Mordecai for this? Then said the king's servants that ministered unto him, There is nothing done for him. And the king said, Who is in the court? Now Haman was come into the outward court of the king's house to speak unto the king to hang Mordecai on the gallows that he had prepared for him. And the king's servants said unto him, Behold, Haman standeth in the court. And the king said, Let him come in. So Haman came in. And the king said unto him, What shall be done unto the man whom the king delighteth to honor? Now Haman thought in his heart, To whom would the king delight to do honor more than to myself? And Haman answered the king, For the man whom the king delighteth to honor, let the royal apparel be brought which the king useth to wear, and the horse that the king rideth upon, and the crown royal which is set the crown royal which is set upon his head. And let this apparel and horse be delivered to the hand of one of the king's most noble princes, that they may array the man withal whom the king delighteth to honor, and bring him on horseback through the street of the city, and proclaim before him, Thus shall it be done to the man whom the king delighteth to honor. Then the king said to Haman, Make haste, and take the apparel and the horse, as thou hast said, and do even so to Mordecai the Jew, that sitteth at the king's gate. Let nothing fail of all that thou hast spoken. Then took Haman the apparel and the horse, and arrayed Mordecai, and brought him on horseback through the street of the city, and proclaimed before him, Thus shall be done unto the man whom the king delighteth to honor. And Mordecai came again to the king's gate, but Haman hasted to his house mourning, and having his head covered. And Haman told Zeresh his wife, and all his friends, everything that had befallen him. Then said his wise men and Zeresh his wife unto him, If Mordecai be of the seed of the Jews, before whom thou hast begun to fall, thou shalt not prevail against him, but shall surely fall before him. And while they were yet talking with him, came the king's chamberlains, and hasted to bring Haman unto the banquet that Esther had prepared.
So the king and Haman now come by the banquet with Esther the queen. And the king said again unto Esther on the second day at the banquet of wine, What is thy petition, Queen Esther? And it shall be granted thee. And what is thy request? And it shall be performed, even to half of the kingdom. Then Esther the queen answered and said, If I have found favor in thy sight, O king, and if it please the king, let my life be given me at my petition, and my people at my request. For we are sold, I am my people to be destroyed, to me slain, and to perish. But if we had been sold for bondmen and bondwomen, I had held my tongue, although the enemy could not countervail the king's damage. Then the king Ahasuerus answered and said unto Esther the queen, Who is he, and where is he, that durst presume in his heart to do so? And Esther said, The adversary and the enemy is the wicked Haman. Then Haman was afraid before the king and the queen. And the king, arising from the banquet of wine, in his wrath went into the palace garden. And Haman stood up to make request for his life to Esther the queen, for he saw that there was evil determined against him by the king. Then the king returned out of the palace garden into the place of the banquet of wine. And Haman was fallen upon the bed wherein Esther was. Then said the king, Will he force the queen also before me in the house? As the word went out of the king's mouth, they covered Haman's face. And Harbona, which was one of the chamberlains, said before the king, Behold also the gallows 50 cubits high, which Haman had made for Mordecai, who had spoken good for the king, standeth in the house of Haman. Then the king said, Hang him thereon. So they hanged Haman on the gallows that he had prepared for Mordecai. Then was the king's wrath pacified.
On that day did the king Ahasuerus give the house of Haman the Jews' enemy unto Esther the queen. And Mordecai came before the king, for Esther had told what he was unto her. And the king took off his ring, which he had taken from Haman, and gave it unto Mordecai. And Esther set Mordecai over the house of Haman. And Esther spake yet again before the king, and fell down at his feet, and besought him with tears to put away the mischief of Haman the Agagite, and his device that he had devised against the Jews. Then the king held out the golden scepter toward Esther. So Esther arose and stood before the king, and said, If it please the king, and if I have found favor in his sight, and the thing seem right before the king, and I be pleasing in his eyes, let it be written to reverse the letters devised by Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, which he wrote to destroy the Jews which are in all the king's provinces. For how can I endure to see the evil that shall come unto my people, or how can I endure to see the destruction of my kindred? Then the king Ahasuerus said unto Esther the queen, and to Mordecai the Jew, Behold, I have given Esther the house of Haman, and him they have hanged upon the gallows, and because he has laid his hand upon the Jews. Write ye also for the Jews as it liketh you in the king's name, and seal it with the king's ring. For the writing which is written in the king's name and sealed with the king's ring may no man reverse. Then were the king's scribes called at that time in the 3rd month, which is called this month Shivan, on the 23rd day thereof, and it was written according to all that Mordecai commanded unto the Jews, and to the lieutenants, and the deputies, and rulers of the provinces, which are from India unto Ethiopia, 127 provinces, unto every province according to the writing thereof, and unto every people after their language, and to the Jews according to their writing and according to their language. And he wrote it in King Ahasuerus' name, and sealed it with the king's ring, and sent letters by post on horseback, and riders on mules, and camels, and young dromedaries, wherein the king granted the Jews that were in every city to gather themselves together, and to stand for their life, to destroy, to slay, and to cause to perish all the power of the people and province that would assault them, both little ones and women, and to take the spoil of them for a prey. Upon one day in all the provinces of King Ahasuerus, namely on the 30th day of the 12th month, which is the month of Adar, the copy of the writing for a commandment to be given in every province was published unto all people, and that the Jews should be ready against that day to avenge themselves on their enemies. So the posts that rode upon the mules and camels went out, being hastened and pressed on by the king's commandment, and the decree was given at Shushan the palace. And Mordecai went out from the presence of the king in royal apparel of blue and white, and with a great crown of gold, and with a garment of fine linen and purple. And the city of Shushan rejoiced and was glad. The Jews had light and gladness and joy and honor. And in every province, in every city, whithersoever the king's commandment and his decree came, the Jews had joy and gladness, a feast and a good day. And many of the people of the fear, for the fear of the Jews, fell And many of the people of the land became Jews, for the fear of the Jews fell upon them.
Now in the 12th month, that is this the month of Adar, on the 13th day of this the same, when the king's commandment and his decree drew near to this the put of execution, in this the day that the enemies of the Jews hoped to have power over them, though it was turned to the contrary, that the Jews had rule over them that hated them. The Jews gathered themselves together in their cities throughout all the provinces of the king Assyrius, and lay hand on such so that sought by their hurt, and no man could be withstand by them, for the fear of them fell upon all people. And the rulers of the provinces and the lieutenants there, and this the deputies and officers of the king, helped the Jews, because the fear of Mordecai fell upon them. For Mordecai was great in the king's house, and his fame went out throughout all the provinces. For his man Mordecai waxed greater and greater. Thus the Jews smote all their enemies with the stroke of the sword, and slaughter and destruction, and did what they now would do to this that hated them. And Shushan, at that the palace of the Jews, now slew by this destroyed 500 men. And the Parshintaliata, which is that it is Dephon, which is that of Asphatha, and Porata, and Adalia, and Ardada, and the Paramashata, which is Arasia, Ardea, Veritita, and 10 sons of Haman, the sons of Hamanites, which are the enemies of the Jews, slew they. But on the spoil laid they not as their hand. Of this now one day now, and the number of those that were slain in Shushan, that the palace, was brought before the king. And the king said to Esther the queen, the Jews have slain and destroyed 500 men in Shushan, and that the palace of that, and say 10 sons of Haman. What have they done in the rest of the king's provinces? Now what is thy petition? And it shall be granted thee. Or what is thy request further? And it shall be done. And then said Esther, if it please the king, let him then be granted to those Jews who are of Shushan to do tomorrow, as also according unto the day's decree. And let Haman's 10 sons be hanged upon the gallows. And the king commanded it so that it be done, and the decree was given by Shushan of that which was hanging of Haman's 10 sons. For the Jews now were in Shushan, and this gathering themselves together for the 14th day also of the month Adar, and slew 300 men at Shushan. And this now be of that prayed by they laid not their hand. And this now of other Jews that were now in this the king's provinces gathered themselves together, and stood for their lives, and the rest from these their enemies, and slew for their foes 70 and 5,000. But they laid not their hands on the prey. On the 13th day of this the month of Adar, and on the 14th day of the same rested they, and made it a day of feasting and gladness. But the Jews that were there in Shushan to assemble by this together of this the 13th day thereof, and the 14th thereof, and on the 15th day of the same they rested, and made it a day of feasting and gladness. Therefore the Jews of the villages that dwelled in the unwalled of that towns of this that be of the unwalled 14th day of this month Adar, is a day that is of gladness and feasting, and a good day, and sending portions now one to another. Mordecai wrote these things, sent letters to all the Jews that were in these the provinces, and the king Assyrius, both nigh and far. Established this among them, that this should keep by 14th day of this month Adar, and the 15th day the same yearly. And the days wherein the Jews rested in their enemies, in the month which this that turned unto them from sorrow to joy, from mourning unto good day, and this that they should make them days of feasting and joy, and of sending portions one to another, and gifts to the poor. And the Jews undertook this now do by this day that had begun, and this as Mordecai now had written unto them, because Haman the son of Hammedatha, which is that of Agagite, of that which is of the enemy of the Jews, had now devised against this the Jews to destroy them. And now this cast pur, which is that lot by this consuming them and destroying them. And then when Esther now came before the king, and he commanded by letters that this wicked device which he now devised against the Jews should return upon his own head, and he that is this his sons should be hanged on the gallows. Wherefore they called these days Purim of that which is after the name of Pur. And therefore for all the words of this letter, and of all that which they had seen concerning this matter, which was that come unto them, the Jews ordained and took upon them, and upon their seed, and upon all such as joined themselves unto them, so as it should not fail, that they would keep those 2 days according to their writing, and according to their appointed time every year. And that these days that should be remembered and kept throughout every generation, every family, every province, every city, and that is the days of Purim, and that which not by fell, and that is among the Jews, nor the memorial of them perish from their seed. Then Esther the queen, the daughter of Abihail, of that which is Mordecai, the Jew that wrote all these that is authority, and confirming the second letter of Purim, by this now sent by sent of letters of the Jews to the 127 provinces of the kingdom of Assyrius, which now with the words of peace and truth, to confirm these days of Purim, and this their times appointed, according to Mordecai the Jew and Esther the queen had enjoined of them, and as they now had declared themselves by this for their seed, the matters of the fastings and their cry. And the decree of Esther confirmed these matters of Purim, and this now be written in the book.
And the king Ahasuerus laid a tribute upon the land and upon the isles of the sea, and all the acts of his power and of his might, and the declaration of the greatness of Mordecai, whereunto the king advanced him. Are they not written in the book of the chronicles of the kings of Media and Persia? For Mordecai the Jew was next unto King Ahasuerus, and great among the Jews, and accepted of the multitude of his brethren, seeking the wealth of his people, and speaking peace to all his seed.
All right, guys, we're going to go on to Job, and we're going to read a couple more because we haven't read our 10 pages yet. We usually read at least 10 to 12 pages. The reason I bring that up is because if you guys would do that, just so you know, 3 to 4 times a week, about 10 pages of the Bible, and between 6 and 9 months, depending on how fast or slow you do with those pages, you're going to be done with the whole Bible. So it's a big deal because I know that I didn't think I'd ever do it. Always prayed I would, and now we're on our 15th time reading it, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm glad you guys are joining us. You can pick up anywhere with what we've already read. You can check it out on YouTube because we have them all posted, right?
Right.
We're hoping we can get through the whole thing. We're nearing the halfway point. Within the next couple of weeks, we'll be able to say we're halfway through the Bible.
That's right. Thank you. Thank you for joining us, Glenn. Amen.
So, Lord be with us as we move on reading. And anyone who joins us, let them be touched. In Jesus' name we pray. All right, Job chapter 1.
There was a man in the land of Uz, whose name was Job, and that man was perfect and upright, and one that feared God and eschewed evil. And there was born unto him 7 sons and 3 daughters. His substance also was 7,000 sheep, and 3,000 camels, and 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 she-asses, and of a very great household, so that this man was the greatest of all the men of the east. And his sons went and feasted in their houses, every one his day, and sent and called for their 3 sisters to eat and to drink with them. And it was so, when the days of their feasting were gone about, that Job sent and sanctified them, and rose up early in the morning, and offered burnt offerings according to the number of them all. For Job said, It may be that my sons have sinned, and cursed God in their hearts. Thus did Job continually. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them. And the Lord said unto Satan, Whence comest thou? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. And the Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and an upright man, one that feareth God and escheweth evil? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, Doth Job fear God for naught? Hast not thou made a hedge about him, and about his house, and about all that he hath on every side? Thou hast blessed the works of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land. But put forth thine hand now, and touch all that he hath, and he will curse thee to thy face. And the Lord said unto Satan, Behold, all that he hath is in thy power, only upon himself put not forth thine hand. So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord. And there was a day when his sons and daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And there came a messenger unto Job, and said, The oxen were plowing, and the asses feeding beside them, and the Sabaeans fell upon them, and they took them away. Yea, they have slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came another also, said, The fire of God is fallen from heaven, and hath burned up the sheep and the servants, and consumed them, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came another, and said, The Chaldeans have made out 3 bands and fell upon the camels and have carried them away, yea, and slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. Whilst he was yet speaking, there came also another, and said, Thy sons and thy daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And behold, there came a great wind from the wilderness, and smote the 4 corners of the house, and it fell upon the young men, and they are dead. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. Then Job arose and rent his mantle, and shaved his head, and fell down upon the ground and worshipped, and said, Naked came I out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return thither. The Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. In all this Job sinned not, nor charged God foolishly.
Again, there was day when the sons of God come, present themselves before this now is of the Lord. And Satan came also among them to present himself before the Lord. And the Lord said to Satan, From whence comest thou? And Satan answered the Lord, and said, From going and to and fro this the earth, and from walking up and down it. And the Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that feareth God, and escheweth that evil? And still now he holdeth fast his integrity, although thou movest me against him to destroy him without cause. Satan answered the Lord and said, Skin for skin, yea, all that this a man hath will he give for his life. But put forth thine hand now, and touch his bone and his flesh, and he will curse thee to thy face. And the Lord said unto Satan, Behold, he is in thine hand, but save his life. So went Satan from this now forth to the presence of that now which was of the Lord, and smote Job with sore boils, from this the soles of his foot unto his crown. And he took him a potsherd of that scrape of this withal that himself, that now he sat down among these the ashes. And so now he that this now was his wife, unto him now this say, Dost thou still retain thine integrity? Curse God and die. But he said unto her, Thou speakest as one of the foolish women that speaketh. What shall we receive good at the hand of God? And shall we not receive evil? And in all this did not Job sin with his lips. Now when Job's 3 friends heard of all this evil that was come upon him, they came every one from his own place. Eliphaz and the Tenamite, Bildad and the Shumite, and this the Zophar, which was the Naamathite, for they now made this appointment together to come and mourn with him and to comfort him. And when they now lifted up their eyes far off, they knew him not. They lifted up their voice and wept. And they rent every one his mantle, and sprinkled dust upon their heads toward heaven. So they sat down with him upon the ground 7 days, 7 nights, and none spake a word unto him, for they saw that his grief was very great.
After this opened Job his mouth and cursed his day. And Job spake and said, Let the day perish wherein I was born, and in the night in which it was said, There is a man-child conceived. Let that day be darkness. Let not God regard it from above, neither let the light shine upon it. Let darkness and the shadow of death stain it. Let a cloud dwell upon it. Let the blackness of the day terrify it. As for the night, let not darkness seize upon it. Let it not be joined unto the days of the year. Let it not come into the number of the months. Lo, let that night be solitary. Let no joyful voice therein come. Let them curse it that curse the day, who are ready to raise up their mourning. Let the stars of the twilight thereof be dark. Let it look for light, but have none. Neither let it see the dawning of the day, because it shut not up the doors of my mother's womb, nor hid sorrow from mine eyes. Why died I not from the womb? Why did I not give up the ghost when I came out of the belly? Why did the knees prevent me, or why did the breast that I should suck? For now, should I have lain still and been quiet, I should have slept. Then I had been at rest. With the king and counselors of the earth, which built desolate places for themselves, or with princes that hath filled gold, or with princes that hast gold, who filled their houses with silver, or as an hidden untimely birth I had not been, as infants which never saw light. There the wicked cease from troubling, and there the weary be at rest. There the prisoners rest together. They heard not the voice of the oppressor. The small and the great are there, and the servant is free from his master. Wherefore is light given to him that is in misery, and life unto the bitter in soul, which longeth for death, but it cometh not, and dig for it more than hid treasures, which rejoiced exceeding, and are glad, which they can find the grave. Why is light given to a man whose way is hid, into whom God hath hedged in? For my sighting cometh before I eat, and my roarings are poured out like the waters. For the thing which I greatly feared is come upon me, and that which I was afraid of is come unto me. I was not in safety, neither had I any rest, neither was I quiet, yet trouble came.
Then Eliphaz the Temanite that to answer say, If we essay to this commune with thee, wilt thou be grieved? But who can withhold himself from speaking? Behold, thou hast instructed many, and thou hast strengthened the weak hands. Thy words have upholden him that was falling. Of this now thou hast strengthened the feeble knees. But now it is come unto thee, and thou faintest and touchest thee, and thou art troubled. Is not this thy fear, thy confidence, thy hope, and thy uprightness of that be of thy ways? Remember, I pray thee, who ever perished being innocent, or where were this the righteous cut off? Even as I have seen, they that plow iniquity and sow wickedness reap the same. By the blast of God they perish, and by the breath of his nostrils are they consumed. The roaring lion of this now is that the voice of the fierce lion, and the teeth of the young lions are broken, and the old lion perished of that for this that lack of prey. And the stout lion's whelps are scattered abroad. Now a thing was this secretly brought to me, and my ear received a little thereof, and thoughts from this divisions of the night, when deep sleep felleth on men. Fear came unto me, and trembling, which made all my bones shake. Then a spirit passed before my face, the hair on my flesh stood up. It stood still, but I could not discern the form thereof, an image that was before mine eyes. There was silence, and I heard a voice saying, Shall mortal man be more just than God? Shall a man be more pure than his Maker? Behold, he put no trust in his servants, and his angels he charged with folly. How much less in them that dwell in houses of clay, whose foundation is in the dust, which are crushed before the moth. They are destroyed from morning to evening. They perish forever without any regarding it. Doth not their excellency which is in them go away? They die even without wisdom.
Call now if there be any that will answer thee, and to which of the saints wilt thou turn? For wrath killeth the foolish man, and envy slayeth the silly one. I have seen the foolish taking root, but I suddenly cursed his habitation. His children are far from safety, and they are crushed in the gate, neither is there any to deliver them. Whose harvest the hungry eateth up, and taketh it out of the thorns, and the robber swalloweth up their substance. Although affliction cometh not forth of the dust, neither doth trouble spring out of the ground. Yet man is born unto trouble, as the sparks fly upward. I would seek unto God, and unto God would I commit my cause, which doeth great things and unsearchable, marvelous things without number, who giveth rain upon the earth, and sendeth waters upon the fields, to set up on those high that be low, that those who mourn may be exalted to safety. He disappointeth the devices of the crafty, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. He taketh the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the froward is carried headlong. They meet with darkness in the daytime, and grope in the noonday as in the night. But he saveth the poor from the sword, from the mouth, and from the hand of the mighty. So the poor hath hope, and iniquity stoppeth her mouth. Behold, happy is the man whom God correcteth. Therefore despiseth not thou the chastening of the Almighty. For he maketh sore and bindeth up. He woundeth, and his hand make whole. He shall deliver thee in 6 troubles. Yea, in 7 there shall be no evil touch thee. In famine he shall redeem thee from death, and in war from the power of the sword. Thou shalt be hid from the scourge of the tongue, neither shalt thou be afraid of destruction when it cometh. At destruction and famine thou shalt laugh, neither shalt thou be afraid of the beasts of the earth, for thou shalt be in league with the stones of the field, and the beasts of the field shall be at peace with thee. And thou shalt know that thy tabernacle shall be in peace, and thou hast visited thy habitation, and shalt not win. Thou shalt know also that thy seed shall be great, and thine offspring as the grass of the earth. Thou shalt come to thy grave in a full age, like as a shock of corn cometh in his season. Lo, this we have searched it, so it is. Hear it, and know that thou art, and know that it is for thy good.
But Job answered and said, Oh, that my grief were that thoroughly of that way, and this the calamity, that laid this balances together. For now it would be heavier than the sand of the sea. Therefore my words I swallow up, for the arrows of this Almighty are within me. The poison whereof drinketh up my spirit. The terrors of God do set themselves in array against me. Doth the wild ass bray with the that hath grass, or loweth the ox over his fodder? Of this now come by which is unsavory be eaten without salt? Or is there any taste in the white of an egg? The things that is my soul refused to touch are of that my sorrowful meat. Oh, that I might have my request, and that God would grant me the thing that I long for, even that it would please God to destroy me, and he would let loose his hand and cut me off. Then should I yet have comfort? Yea, I would harden myself in sorrow. Let him not spare, for I have not concealed the words of the Holy One. What is my strength that I should hope? And what is my end that I should prolong my life? Is my strength the strength of stones, or is my flesh of brass? Is not my help in this of me, and this is that wisdom of that driven quite from me? From this now come to him that is afflicted pity. Should now be showed of this from his friend, but he forsaketh the fear of the Almighty. My brethren have dealt in deceitfully as this the brook, and as this the stream of the brooks that pass away, which are blackish by reason of the ice, and wherein the snow is hid. What time now they wax warmer, that they vanish in this wind that is hot, they are consumed out of their place. The paths of their way are turned aside, they go to nothing and perish. The troops of Tamar now look on this companies of Sheba, which now wait of that for them. They were confounded, because they had hoped. They came thither, and they were ashamed. For now ye are nothing. Ye see my casting down, and are afraid. Did I say, Bring it to me, for this that give by reward for me of your substance? Or deliver me from the enemies of that hand? Or redeem of this me from the hand of my mighty, of this that teach me, and will hold my tongue, and cause me to understand wherein I have erred? How forcible the right words, but what doth your arguing and that reprove? Do ye imagine to reprove those words that come the speeches of one that is desperate, which are as the wind? Yea, ye overwhelm the fatherless, and ye dig a pit for your friend. Now therefore be content, look upon me, for it is evident unto you if I lie. Return, I pray you, let it not be iniquity. Yea, return again, my righteousness, it is in it. Is there iniquity in my tongue? Cannot my taste discern perverse things?
Is there not an appointed time to man upon earth? Are not his days also like the days of a hireling? As a servant earnestly desireth the shadow, and as a hireling looketh for the reward of his work, so am I made to possess months of vanity, and wearisome nights are appointed to me. When I lie down, I say, When shall I arise, and the night be gone? And I am full of tossings to and fro unto the dawning of the day. My flesh is clouded with worms and clods of dust. My skin is broken and become loathsome. My days are swifter than a weaver's shuttle, and are spent without hope. Oh, remember that my life is wind. Mine eye shall no more see good. The eye of him that hath seen me shall see me no more. Thine eyes are upon me, and I am not. As the cloud is consumed and vanished away, so he that goeth down to the grave shall come up no more. He shall return no more to his house, neither shall his place know him any more. Therefore I will not refrain my mouth. I will speak in the anguish of my spirit. I will complain in the bitterness of my soul. Am I a sea or a whale, that thou settest a watch over me? When I say, My bed shall comfort me, my couch shall ease my complaint, then thou scarest me with dreams, and terrifiest me through visions, so that my soul chooseth strangling and death rather than my life. I loathe it. I would not live away alway. Let me alone, for my days are vanity. What is man that thou shouldest magnify him, and that thou shouldest set thine heart upon him, and that thou shouldest visit him every morning, and try him every moment? How long wilt thou not depart from me, nor let me alone till I swallow down my spittle? I have sinned. What shall I do unto thee? O thou preserver of men, why hast thou set me as a mark against thee, so that I am a burden to myself? And why dost thou not pardon my transgression and take away mine iniquity? For now shall I sleep in the dust, and thou shalt seek me in the morning, but I shall not be.
Then answered Bildad this now the Shuhite, which is that say, How long wilt thou speak these things? And how long shall the words of thy mouth be like a strong wind? Doth God pervert judgment? Doth this the Almighty pervert justice? Of that the children have sinned against him, and he hath cast them away for their transgression. If thou wouldst speak unto the God betimes, and make thy supplication to the Almighty, if thou were pure and upright, surely now he would awake for thee, and make the habitation of the righteousness prosperous. Though thy beginning of that through by small, that yet latter end should this greatly increase. For inquire, I pray thee, of the former age, and prepare thyself for the search of thy fathers, for which now but this of yesterday, of this that know nothing, because our days upon earth are a shadow. Shall not they teach thee, and tell thee the other words of that be of their heart? Can the rush grow up without mire, or that come by this now flag grow without water? Of this that wouldst now yet this be his greenness, and not cut down? It is withereth before any other herb. So are the paths of all that forget God. And the hypocrite's hope shall perish, whose hope shall to be cut off, and whose trust shall be a spider's web. He shall lean upon his house, but it shall not stand. He shall hold it fast, but it shall not endure. He is green before the sun, and his branch shooteth of that forth in his garden. His roots are wrapped about the heap, and seeth now this the place of stones. If he destroy him from his place, then it shall deny him, saying, I have not seen thee. Behold, this is the joy of his way, and out of the earth shall others grow. Behold, God will not cast away a perfect man, neither will he help the evildoers, till he fill thy mouth with laughing, and thy lips with rejoicing. They that hate thee shall be clothed with shame, and the dwelling place of the wicked shall come to naught.
Then Job answered and said, I know it is so of a truth, but how should man be just with God? If he will contend with him, he cannot answer him one of 1,000. He is wise in heart and mighty in strength. Who hath hardened himself against him and hath prospered? Which removeth the mountains, and they know not, which overturneth them in his anger, which shaketh the earth out of her place, and the pillars thereof tremble, which commandeth the sun, and it riseth not, and sealeth up the stars, which alone spreadeth out the heavens, and treadeth upon the waves of the sea, which maketh Arcturus, Orion, and Pleiades, and the chambers of the south, which doeth great things past finding out, yea, and wonders without number. Lo, he goeth by me, and I see him not. He passeth on also, but I perceive him not. Behold, he taketh away. Who can hinder him? Who will say unto him, What doest thou? If God will not withdraw his anger, the proud helpers do stoop under him. How much less shall I answer him and choose out of my words to reason with him? Whom, though I were righteous, yet would I not answer, but I would make supplication to my judge. If I had called and he had answered me, yet would I not believe that he had hearkened unto my voice. For he breaketh me with a tempest, and multiplieth my wounds without cause. He will not suffer me to take my breath, but filleth me with bitterness. If I speak of strength, lo, he is strong, and if of judgment, who shall set me a time to plead? If I justify myself, mine own mouth shall condemn me. If I say I am perfect, it shall also prove me perverse. Though I were perfect, yet would I not know my soul. I would despise my life. This is one thing, therefore I said it. He destroyeth the perfect and the wicked. If the scourge slay suddenly, he will laugh at the trial of the innocent. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where, and who is he? Now my days are swifter than a post. They flee away, they see no good. They are passed away as the swift ships, as the eagle that hasteth to the prey. If I say I will forget my complaint, I will leave off my heaviness and comfort myself. I am afraid of all my sorrows. I know that thou wilt not hold me innocent. If I be wicked, why then labor I in vain? If I wash myself with snow water and make my hands never so clean, yet shalt thou plunge me in the ditch, and mine own clothes shall abhor me. For he is not a man as I am, that I should answer him, and we should come together in judgment. Neither is there any days man betwixt us that might lay his hand upon us both. Let him take his rod away from me, and let not his fear terrify me. Then would I speak and not fear him. But it is not so with me.
My soul is weary of my life. I will leave my complaint upon myself. I will speak in the bitterness of my soul. I will say unto God, do not condemn me. Shew me now this wherefore by that contendest with me. Is it good unto thee that thou shouldst oppress, that thou shouldst despise the work of thine hands, and shine upon the counsel of the wicked? Hast thou eyes of flesh, or this seest thou that as man seeth? Are thy days as the days of man? Are the years as man's days? That inquirest that after mine iniquity, and searchest after my sin. Thou knowest that I am not wicked, and there is none that this can deliver out of thine hand. Thy hands have made me, and fashioned together of that round about, yet thou dost destroy me. Remember, I beseech thee, that thou hast made me as the clay, and wilt thou bring me into dust again? Hast thou not poured me out as milk, and curdled that me that this like cheese? For this that now has clothed me, and this with skin and flesh, and hast fenced me with the bones and sinews. Thou hast granted me life and favor, and thy visitation hath preserved my spirit. And these things thou hast hid in thine heart, and I know that this is that with thee. If I sin, then thou markest me, and thou wilt not acquit of this me from my iniquity. If I be wicked, woe to me. And if I be righteous, yet will I not lift up my head. I am full of confusion. Therefore see thou mine affliction, for it is increaseth. Thou huntest me as a fierce lion, and against thou showest thyself marvelous upon me. Thou renewest thy witnesses against me, and increaseth thine indignation upon me. Changes and war are against me. Wherefore then hast thou brought me forth out of the womb? Oh, that I had given up the ghost, and no eye had seen me. I should have been as though this now I have not been. I should have been carried from the womb to the grave. Are not my days few? Cease then, and let me be alone, that I may take comfort a little, before I go whence I shall not return, even to the land of darkness and the shadow of death. A land of darkness, as darkness itself, and of shadow of death, without any order, and where the light is as darkness.
Then answered Zophar the Naamathite and said, Shall not the multitude of words be answered? And should a man full of talk be justified? Should thy lies make men hold their peace? And when thou mockest, shall no man make thee ashamed? For thou hast said, My doctrine is pure, and I am clean in thine eyes. But oh, that God would speak and open his lips against thee, and that he would shew thee the secrets of wisdom, that they are double to that which is. Know therefore that God exacteth of thee less than thine iniquity deserveth. Canst thou by searching find out God? Canst thou find out the Almighty unto perfection? It is as high as heaven, and what canst thou do? Deeper than hell, what canst thou know? The measure thereof is longer than the earth, and broader than the sea. If he cut off and shut up or gather together, then who can hinder him? For he knoweth vain men. He seeth wickedness also. Will he not then consider it? For vain men would be wise, though man be born like a wild ass's colt. If thou prepare thine heart, and stretch out thine hands toward him, if iniquity be in thine hand, put it far away, and let not wickedness dwell in thy tabernacles. For then shalt thou lift up thy face without spot. Yea, thou shalt be steadfast, and shalt not fear. Because thou shalt forget thy misery, and remember it as waters that pass away, and thine age shall be clearer than the noonday. Thou shalt shine forth, thou shalt be as the morning, and thou shalt be secure, because there is hope. Yea, thou shalt dig about thee, and thou shalt take thy rest in safety. Also thou shalt lie down, and none shall make thee afraid. Yea, many shall make suit unto thee. But the eyes of the wicked shall fail, and they shall not escape, and their hope shall be as the giving up of the ghost.
And Job answered and said, No doubt, but ye are the people, and wisdom shall die with you. But I have understanding as well as you. I am not inferior to you. Yea, who knoweth not such things as these? I am as one mocked of his neighbor, who calleth upon God, and he answereth him. The just upright man has laughed of that to scorn. He that is ready to slip with his feet is as a lamp despised in the thought of him that is at ease. The tabernacles of the robbers prosper, and they that provoke God are secure, into whose hand God bringeth abundantly. But ask now the beast, and they shall teach thee, and the fowls of the air, and they shall tell thee. Or speak of the earth, and it shall teach thee, and the fishes of the sea shall declare unto thee. Who knoweth not in all these that have the hand of the Lord hath wrought this? In whose hand is the soul of every living thing, and the breath of all mankind? Doth not the ear try words, and the mouth taste his meat? Of this with this ancient is wisdom, and in length of days understanding. With him is wisdom and strength, he hath counsel and understanding. Behold, he breaketh down, and it cannot be built again. He shutteth up a man, and there can be no opening. Behold, he withholdeth the waters, and they dry up. Also he sendeth them out, and they overturn the earth. With him is strength and wisdom. The deceived and the deceiver are his. He leadeth counselors away spoiled, and maketh the judges fools. He looketh and disloosed beyond bond of this the kings, and girdeth their loins of that with a girdle. He leadeth princes away spoiled, and overthroweth the mighty. He removeth away the speech of this the trusty of that make way by understandings of age. He poureth contempt upon princes, and weakeneth of thee the strength of the mighty. He discovereth deep things out of the darkness, and bringeth out the light the shadow of death. He increaseth the nations, and destroyeth them. He enlargeth the nations, and straighteneth of that them again. And now take away this heart is the chief of the people of the earth, and cause them that wander of that in the wilderness, for where there is no way. They grope in the dark without light, and he maketh them to stagger like a drunken man.
Lo, mine eye hath seen all this, mine ear hath heard and understood it. What ye know, the same do I know also. I am not inferior unto you. Surely I would speak to the Almighty, and I desire to reason with God. But ye are forgers of lies, ye are all physicians of no value. Oh, that ye would altogether hold your peace, and it should be your wisdom. Hear now my reasoning, and hearken to the pleadings of my lips. Will ye speak wickedly for God, and talk deceitfully for him? Will ye accept his person? Will ye contend for God? Is it good that he should search you out? Or as one man mocketh another, do ye so mock him? He will surely reprove you, if ye do secretly accept persons. Shall not his excellency make you afraid, and his dread fall upon you? Your remembrances are like unto ashes, your bodies to bodies of clay. Hold your peace, let me alone, that I may speak, and let come on me what will. Wherefore do I take my flesh in my teeth, and put my life in mine hand? Though he slay me, yet will I trust in him, but I will maintain mine own ways before him. He also shall be my salvation, for a hypocrite shall not come before him. Hear diligently my speech and my declaration with your ears. Behold now, I have ordered my cause. I know that I shall be justified. Who is he that will plead with me? For now, if I hold my tongue, I shall give up the ghost. Only do not two things unto me, then will I not hide myself from thee. Withdraw thine hand far from me, and let not thy dread make me afraid. Then call thou, and I will answer, or let me speak, and answer thou me. How many are mine iniquities and sins? Make me to know my transgression and my sin. Wherefore hidest thou thy face, and holdest me for thine enemy? Wilt thou break a leaf driven to and fro? And wilt thou pursue the dry stubble? For thou writest bitter things against me, and makest me to possess the iniquities of my youth. Thou puttest my feet also in the stocks, and lookest narrowly unto all my paths. Thou settest a print upon the heels of my feet, and he, as a rotten thing, consumeth as a garment that is moth eaten.
Man that is born of this woman is a few days and full of trouble. He cometh forth like a flower and is cut down. He fleeteth that as also a shadow that this continueth not. And dost thou now open thine eyes upon such an one, and bringest me unto judgment with thee? Who can bring me a clean thing that but this that is of an unclean? Not one. But seeing his days are this determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bonds of that come by this that cannot pass, for there them turn by him, that he may rest, till he shall accomplish as an hireling of this day. For there is hope of a tree, if be cut down, that it will sprout again, and that the tender branch thereof will not cease. Though this now the root thereof wax old in the earth, and the stock thereof die in the ground, yet this through this scent of that the water it will bud, and this now bringing forth boughs of that like a plant. So now come by this man that die, and this to waste away. Yea, man giveth up the ghost, and where is he? As the waters fell from the sea, and the flood decayeth and drieth up. So man lieth down, and riseth not, till the heavens be no more. They shall not awake, nor be raised out of their sleep. O that thou wouldst hide me in the grave, that thou wouldst keep me secret, until thy wrath be past, and thou wouldst appoint me a set time, and remember me. If a man die, shall he live again? All the days of my appointed time will I wait till my charge of that change come, of that now thou that call, and I will answer thee. Thou wilt have a desire to the work of thine hands. For now thou numberest my steps. Dost thou not watch over my sin? My transgression is sealed up in a bag, and thou sewest up mine iniquity. And surely the mountain falling cometh to naught, and the rock is removed out of his place. The waters, where the stones, thou washest away the things which grow out of the dust of the earth, and thou destroyest the hope of man. Thou prevailest forever against him, and he passeth, thou changest of this now the countenance that come by sending him away. His sons come to honor, and he knoweth it not, and they are brought low, but he perceiveth it not of them. But his flesh upon him shall have pain, and his soul within him shall mourn.
Then answered Eliphaz the Temanite and said, Should a wise man utter vain knowledge and fill his belly with east wind? Should he reason with unprofitable talk, or with speeches wherewith he can do no good? Yea, thou castest off fear, and restrainest prayer before God. For thy mouth uttereth thine iniquity, and thou choosest the tongue of the crafty. Thine own mouth condemneth thee, and not I. Yea, thine own lips testify against thee. Art thou the first man that was born, or wast thou made before the hills? Hast thou heard the secrets of God? And dost thou restrain wisdom to thyself? What knowest thou that we know not? What understandest thou which is not in us? With us are both the gray-headed and very aged men, much elder than thy father. Are the consolations of God small with thee? Is there any secret thing with thee? Why doth thine heart carry thee away? And why do thy eyes wink at that thou turnest thy spirit against God, and lettest such words go out of thy mouth? What is man that he should be clean, and he which is born of a woman that he should be righteous? Behold, he putteth no trust in his saints. Yea, the heavens are not clean in his sight. How much more abominable and filthy is man which drinketh iniquity like water? I will shew thee, hear me, and that which I have seen I will declare, which wise men have told from their fathers, and have not hid it. Unto whom alone the earth was given, and no stranger passed among them. The wicked man travelleth with pain all his days, and the number of years is hidden to the oppressor. A dreadful sound is in his ears. In prosperity the destroyer shall come to destroy upon him. He believeth not that he shall return out of darkness, and he is waited for of the sword. He wandereth abroad for bread, saying, Where is it? He knoweth that the day of darkness is ready at his hand. Trouble and anguish shall make him afraid, and they shall prevail against him as a king ready to the battle. For he stretcheth out his hand against God, and strengtheneth himself against the Almighty. He runneth upon him, even on his neck, upon the thick bosses of his bucklers, because he covereth his face with his fatness, and maketh collops of fat on his flanks. And he dwelleth in desolate cities, and in houses which no man inhabiteth, which are ready to become heaps. He shall not be rich, neither shall his substance continue, neither shall he prolong the perfection thereof upon the earth. He shall not depart out of darkness, and the flame shall dry up his branches, and by the breath of his mouth he shall go away. Let not him that is deceived trust in vanity, for vanity shall be his recompense. It shall be accomplished before his time, and his branch shall not be green. He shall shake off his unripe grape as the vine, and shall cast off his flower as the olive. For the congregation of the hypocrites shall be desolate, and fire shall consume the tabernacles of bribery. They conceive mischief and bring forth vanity, and their belly prepareth deceit.
Then Job answered and said, I have heard many such things. Miserable comforters are ye all. Shall vain words have an end, or what emboldeneth of thee that thou answerest? I also could speak as ye do, if your soul were in my soul's stead. I could heap up words against you, and shake mine head at you. But I would strengthen you with my mouth, and the moving of my lips should assuage of that your grief. For this though I speak, my grief is not assuaged. Of that now though I forbear, what am I eased? But now he hath made me weary. Thou hast made me desolate all my company, and thou hast filled me with wrinkles, which is a witness against me, and my leanness rising of that come by that beareth witness, so to my face. He teareth me in his wrath, who hateth me. He gnasheth upon me with his teeth. Mine enemy sharpeneth his eyes upon me. They have gaped of that upon me, of that with their mouth, and they now have smitten of me with this the cheek. Reproachfully they have gathered themselves together against me. God hath delivered me to the ungodly, and turned me over into the hands of the wicked. I was at ease, but he hath broken me asunder. He hath also taken me by my neck, and shaken me to pieces, and set me up for his mark. His archers compass me round and about. He cleaveth my reins asunder, and doth not spare. He poureth out my gall upon the ground. Of that breaketh now me with breach upon breach. He runneth upon me like a giant. I have sewed sackcloth upon my skin, and defiled my horn in the dust. My face is foul with weeping, and on my eyelids is the shadow of death. Not for any injustice in my hands, also my prayer is pure. O earth, cover not thy my blood, and let my cry have no place. Also now, behold, my witness is in heaven, and my record is on high. My friends scorn me, but mine eye poureth out tears unto God. Oh, that one might plead for a man with God as a man pleadeth for his neighbor. When a few years are come, then I shall go the way whence I shall not return.
Chapter 17. My breath is corrupt, my days are extinct, the graves are ready for me. Are there not mockers with me, and doth not mine eyes continue with their provocation? Lay down now, put me in a surety with thee. Who is he that will strike hands with me? For thou hast hid their heart from understanding, therefore shalt thou not exalt them. He that speaketh flattery to his friends, even the eyes of his children shall fail. He hath made me also a byword of the people, and aforetime I was as a tabret. Mine eye also is dim by reason of sorrow, and all my members are as a shadow. Upright men shall be astonished at this, and the innocent shall stir up himself against the hypocrite. The righteous also shall hold his way, and he that hath clean hands shall be stronger and stronger. But as for you all, do ye return and come now, for I cannot find one wise man among you. My days are past, my purposes are broken off, even the thoughts of my heart. They change the night into the day. The light is short because of darkness. If I wait, the grave is mine house. I have made my bed in the darkness. I have said to corruption, thou art my father. To the worm, thou art my mother and my sister. And where is now my hope? As for my hope, who shall see it? They shall go down to the bars of the pit, when our rest together is in the dust.
Then answered Bildad of that the Shuhite, which is that say, How long will it ere ye make an end of words? Mark, and afterwards we will speak. Wherefore are we counted as beasts, and reputed vile in your sight? He teareth himself in his sin and anger of that come by this the earth forsaken of thee. And shall now the rock be removed out of his place? Yea, the light of the wicked shall be put out, and the spark of his fire shall not shine. The light shall be dark in his tabernacle, and his candle shall be put out with him. The steps of his strength shall be straitened, and his own counsel shall cast him down. For he is cast into this net by this his own feet, and this that walketh upon the snare. The gin shall take him by the heel, and this the robber shall prevail against him. The snare is laid for him in the ground, the trap of him is that in the way. Terror shall make him afraid on every side, and shall drive him to his feet. His strength shall be hunger bitten, and destruction shall be ready at his side. It shall devour the strength of his skin, even the firstborn of death shall devour his strength. His confidence shall be rooted out of the tabernacle, and it shall bring him to the king of terrors. It shall dwell in his tabernacle, because it is none of his brimstone shall that be scattered upon his habitation. His roots shall be dried up beneath, and above shall his branch be cut off. His remembrance shall perish from the earth, and he shall have no name in the street. He shall be driven from the light into darkness, and chased out the world. He shall neither have son nor nephew among his people, nor any remaining in his dwellings. They that come after him shall be a stone of that by this now is day, as they that went before were affrighted. Surely such are the dwellings of the wicked, and this is the place of him that knoweth not God.
Then Job answered and said, How long will ye vex my soul and break me in pieces with words? These 10 times have ye reproached me. Ye are not ashamed that ye make yourselves strange to me. And be it indeed that I have erred, mine error remaineth with myself. If indeed ye will magnify yourselves against me, and plead against me my reproach, know now that God hath overthrown me, and hath compassed me with his net. Behold, I cry out of wrong, but I am not heard. I cry aloud, but there is no judgment. He hath fenced up my way that I cannot pass, and he hath set darkness in my paths. He hath stripped me of my glory, and taken the crown from my head. He hath destroyed me on every side, and I am gone, and mine hope hath he removed like a tree. He hath also kindled his wrath against me, and he counted me unto him as one of his enemies. His troops come together, and raise up their way against me, and encamp round about my tabernacle. He hath put my brethren far from me, and mine acquaintance are verily estranged from me. My kinsfolk have failed, and my familiar friends have forgotten me. They that dwell in mine house, and my maids, count me for a stranger. I am an alien in their sight. I called my servant, and he gave me no answer. I entreated him with my mouth. My breath is strange to my wife, though I entreated for the children's sake of mine own body. Yea, young children despised me. I arose, and they spake against me. All my inward friends abhorred me, and they whom I loved are turned against me. My bone cleaveth to my skin and to my flesh, and I am escaped with the skin of my teeth. Have pity on me, have pity on me, O ye my friends, for the hand of God hath touched me. Why do ye persecute me as God? And are you not satisfied with my flesh? Oh, that my words were not now written. Oh, that they were printed in a book, that they were graven with an iron pen and lead in the rock forever. For I know that my Redeemer liveth, and that he shall stand at the latter day upon the earth. And though after my skin worms destroy this body, yet in my flesh shall I see God, whom I shall see for myself, and mine eyes shall behold, and not another, though my reins be consumed within me. But ye should say, Why persecute we him, seeing the root of the matter is found in me? Be ye afraid of the sword, for wrath bringeth the punishments of the sword, that ye may know that there is a judgment.
Then answered Zophar the Naamathite, which is that say, Therefore do thou my thoughts cause me to answer, and for this I make haste. I have heard the cheek of my reproach, and the spirit of my understanding causeth me to answer. Knowest thou not this of the old, since man was placed upon earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of this the hypocrite but for a moment? Though this excellency mount up this the heavens, and his head now reach unto the clouds, yet he shall perish forever like his own dung. They which have seen him shall say, Where is he? He shall fly away as a dream, and shall not be found. Yea, he shall be chased by that a vision of the night. And so now this eye which now saw him shall see him no more, neither shall his place any more behold him. His children shall seek to please the poor. His hands shall restore their goods. His bones are full of the sin of his youth, which shall lie down with him in the dust. Though wickedness be sweet in his mouth, through this that though he hide by this under his tongue. Through this now he spare by this that come forsake it not, but this now keep it still within his mouth. Yet his meat in his bowels is turned. It is in this the gall of the gasp of aches by this within him. He had swallowed down riches, he shall vomit them up again. God shall cast them down out of his belly. He shall suck of the poison of asp, of this the viper's tongue, that shall slay him. He shall not see the rivers, the floods, the brooks, the honey, and the butter. That which is labored for shall this he restore, and shall not swallow it down according to the substance. Shall this now restitution be by that he shall not rejoice therein. Because he hath oppressed that hath this forsaken the poor, because he hath violently taken away the house which was builded not. Surely he shall not feel the quietness of this in his belly, that he shall not say by this which is his desire. But this that shall not come, and this his meat of him be left. Therefore shall no man look for his goods. In the fullness of his sufficiency is he that shall be of the straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come unto him. When he is about to fill his belly, God shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. He shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. It is drawn by this that cometh out of the body, yea, the glittering sword cometh out of his gall. Terrors are upon him. All darkness shall be hid in his secret places. A fire not blown shall consume him. It shall go ill of that with him, and that is left in his tabernacle. The heavens shall reveal his iniquity, and the earth shall rise up against him. The increase of his house shall depart, and his goods shall flow away in the day of his wrath. This is the portion of a wicked man from God, and the heritage appointed unto him by God.
But Job answered and said, Hear diligently my speech, and let this be your consolations. Suffer me that I may speak, and after that I have spoken, mock on. As for me, is my complaint to man? And if it were so, why should not my spirit be troubled? Mark me and be astonished, and lay your hand upon your mouth. Even when I remember I am afraid, and trembling taketh hold on my flesh. Wherefore do the wicked live, become old, yea, are mighty in power? Their seed is established in their sight with them, and their offspring before their eyes. Their houses are safe from fear, neither is the road of God upon them. Their bull gendereth and faileth not, and their cow calveth and casteth not her calf. They send forth their little ones like a flock, and their children dance. And they take the timbrel and the harp, and rejoice at the sound of the organ. They spend their days in wealth, and in a moment go down to the grave. Therefore they say unto God, Depart from us, for we desireth not the knowledge of thy ways. What is the Almighty that we should serve him? And what profit should we have if we pray unto him? Lo, their good is not in their hand. The counsel of the wicked is far from me. How oft is the candle of the wicked put out, and how oft cometh their destruction upon them? God distributeth sorrows in his anger. They are as stubble before the wind, and as chaff that the storm carrieth away. God layeth up his iniquity for his children. He rewardeth him, and he shall know it. His son shall see his destruction, and he shall drink of the wrath of the Almighty. For what pleasure hath he in his house after him, when the number of his months is cut off from the midst? Shall any teach God knowledge? Seeing he judgeth those that are high. One dieth in his full strength, being wholly at ease and quiet. His breasts are full of milk, and his bones are moistened with marrow. And another dieth in the bitterness of his soul, and never eateth with pleasure. They shall lie down alike in the dust, and the worm shall cover them. Behold, I know your thoughts and the devices which ye wrongfully imagine against me. For ye say, Where is the house of the prince? And where are the dwelling places of the wicked? Have ye not asked them that go by the way? And do ye not know their tokens, that the wicked is reserved for the day of destruction? They shall be brought forth to the day of wrath. Who shall declare his way to his face? And who shall repay him what he hath done? Yet shall he be brought to the grave, and shall remain in the tomb. The clods of the valley shall be sweet unto him, and every man shall draw after him, as there are innumerable before him. How then comfort ye me in vain, seeing in your answers there remaineth falsehood?
Then Eliphaz the Themite of that now answer and say, Can this a man be profitable unto God, as he that is this wise may be profitable unto himself? Is it any pleasure to this the Almighty that thou art righteous, or is it gain to him that thou makest thy ways perfect? Will he reprove thee that this that fear of thee? Will he enter with thee unto judgment? Is not thy wickedness great, and thy iniquities infinite? For thou hast taken a pledge from thy brother for naught, and stripped the naked of their clothing. Thou hast not by given water to the weary to drink, and thou hast withholden bread from the hungry. But this far by this mighty man, he that hath the earth of this the honorable man, dwell in it. Thou hast sent widows away empty, and the arms of the fatherless have been now broken. Therefore snares are round about thee, and sudden fear troubleth thee, or darkness that is that canst not see. Abundance of the waters cover thee. Is not God in the height of heaven? And behold the height of the stars, how high there are? For thou that sayest, How doth thy God know? For this that judge through this the dark cloud. The clouds are of this covering to him, and he seeth not by this he that walketh in the circuit of heaven. Hast thou marked the old way which wicked men have trodden, which were cut down out of time, whose foundation was overflown with the flood, which said unto God, Depart from us, and what can the Almighty do for them? Yet he filled their houses with good things, but the counsel of the wicked is far from me. The righteous see it, and are glad, as this the innocent laugh them to scorn. Whereas our substance is not cut down, but this the remnant of them the fire consumeth. Acquaint now thyself with him, and be at peace, thereby good shall come unto thee. Receive, I pray thee, the law from his mouth, and lay up his words in thine heart. If thou return to the Almighty, of this thou shalt be built up. Thou shalt put away iniquity far from thy tabernacles. Then shalt thou lay up gold and dust, of this that the gold is that of Ophir, and the stones there of the brooks. Yea, the Almighty shall be thy defense, and thou shalt have plenty of silver. For then shalt thou have thy delight in the Almighty, and shalt lift up thy face unto God. Thou shalt make thy prayer unto him, and he shall hear thee, and thou shalt pay thy vows. Thou shalt also decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee, and the light shall shine unto thy ways. When men are cast down, then thou shalt say, There is lifting up, and he shall save the humble person. He shall deliver the island of the innocent, and it is delivered by the pureness of thine hands.
Then Job answered and said, Even today is my complaint bitter. My stroke is heavier than my groaning. Oh, that I knew where I might find him, that I might come even to his seat. I would order my cause before him and fill my mouth with arguments. I would know the words which he would answer me, and understand what he would say unto me. Will he plead against me with his great power? No, but he would put strength in me. There the righteous might dispute with him, so should I be delivered forever from my judge. Behold, I go forward, but he is not there, and backward, but I cannot perceive him. On the left hand, where he doth work, but I cannot behold him. He hideth himself on the right hand, that I cannot see him. But he knoweth the way that I take. When he hath tried me, I shall come forth as gold. My foot hath held his steps. His ways have I kept, and not declined. Neither have I gone back from the commandment of his lips. I have esteemed the words of his mouth more than my necessary food. But he is in one mind, and who can turn him? And what his soul desireth, even that he doeth. For he performeth the thing that it is appointed for me, and many such things are with him. Therefore am I troubled at his presence. When I consider, I am afraid of him. For God maketh my heart soft, and the Almighty troubleth me, because I was not cut off before the darkness, neither hath he covered the darkness from my face.
Why, seeing times are not hidden by this Almighty, do they that know him not see his days? Some remove the landmarks, they violently take away flocks and feed thereof. They drive away the ass of the fatherless, they that take the widow's ox for a pledge. They turn the needy out of the way, the poor of the earth hide themselves together. Behold, as wild asses in the desert go they forth to their work, rising betimes for a prey. Of this the wilderness yieldeth food for them and for their children. They reap every one his corn in the field, and they gather the vintage of the wicked. They cause the naked to lodge without clothing, and they have no covering in the cold. They are wet with the showers of the mountains, and embraced by the rock, for want is of that a shelter. They pluck the fatherless from the breast of that come of this that the pledge of this the poor. For this now be they that cause him to go naked without clothing, and they take away the sheaf from that the hungry. For this that come by make oil within their walls, and tread there the winepresses, and suffer thirst. Men groan from out of this the city, and the soul of the wounded crieth out. Yet God layeth not folly to them. They are of those that rebel against the light. They know not the ways thereof, nor abide in the paths thereof. The murderer rising up with the light killeth the poor and the needy, and in the night is as a thief. The eye also of the adulterer waiteth for the twilight, saying, No eye shall see me, and disguiseth his face. The dark they dig through these houses of those which they had marked. For themselves of this in the daytime, they know not the light. For the morning is to them even as the shadow of death. If one know them, they are in the terrors of the shadow of death. He is swift as the waters, their portion of this curse in the earth. He beholdeth not the way of the vineyards. Drought and heat consume the snow waters, so doth the grave those that which have sinned. The womb shall forget him, the worm shall feed sweetly there on him, and this shall be no more remembereth, and wickedness shall be broken as a tree. He evil in this entreat by this barren that beareth not, and doth not good to the widow. He draweth also the mighty with his power. He riseth up, and no man is sure of life. Though it be given him to the safety whereon he resteth, yet his eyes are upon their ways. They are exalted for a little while, but are gone and brought low. They are taken out of the way as all other, and cut off as the tops of the ears of corn. And if it be not so now, who will make me a liar, and make my...
Then answered Bildad the Suhite, and said, Dominion and fear are with him. He maketh peace in his high places. Is there any number of his armies? And upon whom doth not his light arise? How then can man be justified with God? Or how can he be clean that is born of a woman? Behold, even to the moon, and it shineth not. Yea, the stars are not pure in his sight. How much less man that is a worm, and the Son of Man which is a worm?
But Job answered and said, How has this helped him that is that without power? How saveth thou the arm that would have no strength? How hast thou counseled him that hath no wisdom? And how hast thou plentifully declared the thing as it is? To whom hast thou uttered words, and whose spirit come from thee? Dead things are formed from under the waters, and the inhabitants thereof. Hell is naked before him, and destruction hath no covering. He stretcheth out to the north over the empty place, and hangeth the earth upon nothing. He bindeth up the waters in his thick clouds, and the cloud is not rent under them. He holdeth back the face of his throne, and spreadeth his cloud upon it. He hath compassed the waters with bounds until the day and night come to an end. The pillars of heaven tremble, and are astonished at that is his reproof. He divideth the sea with his power, and by his understanding he smiteth through this the proud. By this his spirit he hath garnished in the heavens, his hand hath formed the crooked serpent. Lo, these are parts of his ways, but how little a portion is heard of him. But the thunder of his power, who can understand?
Moreover, Job continued his parable and said, As God liveth, who hath taken away my judgment, and the Almighty, who hath vexed my soul? All the while my breath is in me, and the Spirit of God is in my nostrils. My lips shall not speak wickedness, nor my tongue utter deceit. God forbid that I should justify you. Till I die, I will not remove mine integrity from me. My righteousness I hold fast, and I will not let it go. My heart shall not reproach me so long as I live. Let mine enemy be as the wicked, and he that riseth up against me as the unrighteous. For what is the hope of the hypocrite, though he hath gained, when God taketh away his soul? Will God hear his cry when trouble cometh upon him? Will he delight himself in the Almighty? Will he always call upon God? I will teach you by the hand of God that which is with the Almighty will I not conceal. Behold, all ye yourselves have seen it. Why then are ye thus altogether vain? This is the portion of a wicked man with God, and the heritage of oppressors which they shall receive of the Almighty. If his children be multiplied, it is for the sword, and his offspring shall not be satisfied with bread. Those that remain of him shall be buried in death, and his widow shall not weep. Though he heap up silver as the dust, and prepare raiment as the clay, he may prepare it, but the just shall put it on, and the innocent shall divide the silver. He buildeth his house as a moth, and as a booth that the keeper maketh. The rich man shall lie down, but he shall not be gathered. He openeth his eyes, and he is not. Terrors take hold on him as waters. A tempest stealeth him away in the night. The east wind carrieth him away, and he departeth, and as a storm hurleth him out of his place. For God shall cast upon him, and shall not spare. He would fain flee out of his hand. Men shall clap their hands at him, and shall hiss him out of his place.
Surely there is a vein for this silver, and a place for gold where they find it. Iron is taken out of the earth, and brass is molten out of the stone. He setteth an end to darkness, and searcheth out all perfection of that these the stones of darkness, and the shadow of death. For the flood breaketh out from the inhabitant, even the waters forgotten of this the foot, they are dried up, they are gone away from men. As for the earth, out of it cometh bread, and under it turned up as it were fire. The stones of it are the place of sapphires, and it hath dust of gold. There is a path which no fowl knoweth, and which the vulture's eye hath not seen. The lion's whelps have not trodden it, nor the fierce lion passed by it. He putteth forth his hand upon the rock. He overturneth the mountains by the roots. He cutteth out rivers among the rocks, and his eye seeth every precious thing. He bindeth the floods from overflowing, and the thing that is hid bringeth he forth to light. But where shall wisdom be found, and where is the place understanding? Man knoweth not the price thereof, neither is it found in the land of the living. The depth saith, it is not in me, and the sea saith, it is not with me. It can't be gotten by that this gold, neither shall silver be weighed for the price thereof. It cannot be valued with the gold of Ophir, or that precious onyx of that sapphire. For this now come the gold, as this the crystal cannot equal it, and the exchange of it shall not be for jewels of fine gold. No mention shall be made the coral of this the pearls, of this the price of wisdom is above rubies. The topaz of Ethiopia shall not equal it, neither shall it be valued with pure gold. Whence then come wisdom? And where it is the place of understanding, seeing it is hid from the eyes of all living, and kept close from the fowls of the air. Destruction and death say, we have heard the fame thereof with our ears. God understandeth the way thereof, and he knoweth the place thereof. For he looketh to the ends of the earth, and seeth under the whole heaven, to make the weight for the winds, and he weigheth this the waters by measure. When he made a decree for this the rain, and for the way for the lightning of the thunder. Then did he see it, and declare it. He prepared it, yea, and searched it out. And unto man he say, behold, the fear of the Lord that is wisdom, and to depart from evil is understanding.
Moreover, Job continued his parable and said, Oh, that I were as in months past, as in the days when God preserved me, when his candle shined upon my head, and when by his light I walked through darkness. As I was in the days of my youth, when the secret of God was upon my tabernacle, when the Almighty was yet with me, when my children were about me, when I washed my steps with butter, and the rock poured me out rivers of oil, when I went out to the gate through the city, when I prepared my seat in the street. The young men saw me and hid themselves, and the aged arose and stood up. The princes refrained talking and laid their hands in their mouth. The nobles held their peace, and their tongue cleaved to the roof of their mouth. When the ear heard me, then it blessed me, and when the eye saw me, it gave witness to me. because I delivered the poor that cried, and the fatherless, and him that had none to help him. The blessing of him that was ready to perish came upon me, and I caused the widow's heart to sing for joy. I put on righteousness, and it clothed me. My judgment was as a robe and a diadem. I was eyes to the blind, and feet was I to the lame. I was a father to the poor, and the cause which I knew not I searched out. And I brake the jaws of the wicked, and plucked the spoil out of his teeth. Then I said, I shall die on my nest, and I shall multiply my days as the sand. My root was spread out by the waters, and the dew lay all night upon my branch. My glory was fresh in me, and my bow was renewed in my hand. Unto me men gave ear, and waited, and kept silence at my counsel. After my word they spake not again, and my speech dropped upon them. And they waited for me as for the rain, and they opened their mouth as wide for the latter rain. If I laughed on them, they believed it not, and the light of my countenance they cast not down. I chose out their way, and sat chief, and dwelt as a king in the army, as one that comforteth the mourners.
But now they that which are younger than I have done this in derision, whose fathers I have disdained of that be that sat with the dogs of my flock. Yea, whereunto might the strength of their hands profit me, in whom old age was perished, for want and famine they were solitary, fleeing unto the wilderness, in former time desolate and waste. Who cut up mallows by this bushes, and juniper roots for their meat? They were driven forth from among men. They cried after them as far as a thief. For dwelling the cliffs of the valleys and caves of the earth and in the rocks, among the bushes they braved of this under nettles of that which were gathered together. They were children of fools, yea, children of base men. They were viler than the earth. And now am I their song, yea, I am their byword. They abhor me, by this flee from me, by this now spare not to spit in my face, because he hath loosed my cord and afflicted me. They have also let loose the bridle of that before me. Upon my right hand rise the youth. They push away my feet. They raised up against me the ways of their destruction. Their mar that now path of that they set forward, and that's my calamity. They have no helper. They came upon me as a wide breaking in the waters. In the desolation they ruled of that now themselves upon me. For therefore this terrors of that come turn upon me. They pursue my soul as the wind, and my welfare passeth away as a cloud. And now my soul is poured out upon me. The days of affliction have taken hold upon me. My bones are pierced in me in the night season, and my sinews now take no rest. By the gate force of my decease is my garment changeth, it bindeth me about as this the collar of my coat. He hath cast me into the mire, and I am become like dust and ashes. I cry unto thee, and thou dost not hear me. I stand up, and thou regardest me not. Thou art become cruel to me. With thy strong hand thou opposest thyself against me. Thou liftest me up to the wind. Thou causest me to ride upon it, and dissolvest my substance. For I know that thou wilt bring me to death, and to the house appointed for all living. Howbeit, he will not stretch out his hand to the grave, through this that though I cry by this in his desolation of that come destruction. Did not I weep for him that was in trouble? Was not my soul grieved for the poor? When I looked for good, then evil came unto me, and when I waited for light, there came darkness. My bowels boiled and rest not. The days of affliction prevented me. I went mourning without the sun. I stood up and I cried in the congregation. I am a brother to the dragons, and a companion to owls. My skin is black upon me, and my bones are burned with heat. My harp also is turned to mourning, and my organ unto the voice of them that weep.
I made a covenant with mine eyes. Why then should I think upon a maid? For what portion of God is there from above, and what inheritance of the Almighty from on high? Is not destruction to the wicked, and a strange punishment to the workers of iniquity? Doth not he see my ways, and count all my steps? If I have walked with vanity, or if my foot hath hasted to deceit, let me be weighed in an even balance, that God may know my integrity. If my step hath turned out of the way, and mine heart walked after mine eyes, and if any blot hath cleaved to me my hands, Then let me sow, and let another eat. Yea, let my offspring be rooted out. If mine heart have been deceived by a woman, or if I have laid wait at my neighbor's door, then let my wife grind unto another, and let others bow down upon her. For this is an heinous crime. Yea, it is an iniquity to be punished by the judges. For it is a fire that consumeth to destruction, and would root out all mine increase. If I did despise the cause of my manservant or of my maidservant when they contended with me, what then shall I do when God riseth up? And when he visiteth, what shall I answer him? Did not he that made me in the womb make him? And did not one fashion us in the womb? If I have withheld the poor from their desire, or have caused the eyes of the widow to fail, or have eaten my morsel myself alone, and the fatherless have not eaten thereof, for from my youth he was brought up with me as with a father, and I have guided her from my mother's womb. If I have seen any perish for want of clothing, or any poor without covering, if his loins have not blessed me, and if he were not warmed with the fleece of my sheep, if I have lifted up my hand against the fatherless, when I saw my help in the gate, then let mine arm fall from my shoulder blade, and mine arm be broken from the bone. For destruction from God was a terror to me, and by reason of his highness I could not endure. If I had made gold my hope, or have said to the fine gold, Thou art my confidence, if I rejoiced because my wealth was great, and because mine hand had gotten much, if I beheld the sun when it shined, or the moon walking in brightness, and my heart hath been secretly enticed, or my mouth hath been kissed my hand, this also were an iniquity to be punished by the judge, for I should have denied the God that is above. If I rejoiced at the destruction of him that hated me, or lifted up myself when evil found him, neither have I suffered my mouth to sin by wishing a curse to his soul. If the men of my tabernacle said not, Oh, that we had of his flesh, we cannot be satisfied. The stranger did not lodge in the street, but I opened my doors to the traveler. If I covered my transgressions as Adam by hiding mine iniquity in my bosom, did I fear a great multitude, or did the contempt of families terrify me, that I kept silence and went not out of the door? Oh, that one would hear me. Behold, my desire is that the Almighty would answer me, and that mine adversary had written a book. Surely I would take it upon my shoulder and bind it as a crown to me. I would declare unto him the number of my steps. As a prince would I go near unto him. If my land cry against me, or that the furrows likewise thereof complain, if I have eaten the fruits thereof without money, or have caused the owners thereof to lose their life, let thistles grow instead of wheat, and cockle instead of barley. The words of Job are ended.
So these three men ceased to answer Job because he was righteous in his own eyes. Then was kindled the wrath of Elio, the son of Barachel, which is that the Buzite of that which kindled of the ram. Against now Job was now his wrath kindled, because he justified himself rather than God. Also against the three friends was his wrath kindled, because they had not found the answer of that yet now had condemned of Job. Now Eliu that had waited till Job had spoken, because they were elder than he. When Eliud then this saw by this that were no answer, in the month of that the mouth that come by that the three men that is of wrath by this that kindle, Eliud the son of Barachel, which is that is the Buzite of that answer, say, I am young, and ye are very old. Wherefore I was afraid, and durst not show you my opinion. I said, days should speak, and multitudes of years should teach wisdom. But there is a spirit in man, and an inspiration of the Almighty giveth them understanding. Great men are not always wise, neither do the aged understand judgment. Therefore I said, hearken to me, I also will show mine opinion. Behold, I waited for your words. I gave ear to your reasons. Wilt ye search out what to say? Yea, I attended unto you, and behold, there was none of you that convinced Job, or that answered his words. Lest ye now should say, by we have found out a wisdom. God thirsteth him down by this that come by down by not men, but now that hath not directed his words against me, neither will I answer him with your speeches. They were amazed, they answered no more, they left off speaking. When I had waited, for they spake not, but stood still and answered no more. I said, I will answer also my part. By this I also show my opinion. For I am full of matter. The spirit within me constraineth me. Behold, my belly is as wine which now hath no vent. It is ready to burst like a new bottles. I will speak that I may be refreshed. I will open my lips and answer. Let me not, I pray you, accept any man's person, neither let me give flatterings titles unto this man. For this now I know not that give flattering titles, and this now so doing, my Maker would soon take me away.
Wherefore, Job, I pray thee, hear my speeches and hearken to all my words. Behold, now I have opened my mouth, my tongue hath spoken in my mouth. My words shall be of the uprightness of my heart, and my lips shall utter knowledge clearly. The Spirit of God hath made me, and the breath of the Almighty hath given me life. If thou canst answer me, set thy words in order before me. Stand up. Behold, I am according to thy wish in God's stead. I am also formed out of clay. Behold, my terror shall not make thee afraid, neither shall my hand be heavy upon thee. Surely thou hast spoken in mine hearing, and I have heard the voice of thy words, saying, I am clean without transgression. I am innocent, neither is there iniquity in me. Behold, he findeth occasions against me. He counteth me for an enemy. He putteth my feet in the stocks. He marketh all my paths. Behold, in this thou art not just. I will answer thee that God is greater than man. Why dost thou strive against him? For he giveth not account of any of his matters. For God speaketh once, yea, twice, yet man perceiveth it not. In a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falleth upon men, and slumberings upon the bed. Then he openeth the ears of men, and sealeth their instruction, that he may withdraw man from his purpose, and hide pride from man. He keepeth back his soul from the pit, and his life from perishing by the sword. He is chastened also with pain upon his bed, and the multitude of his bones with strong pain, so that his life abhorreth bread, and his soul dainty meat. His flesh is consumed away, that it cannot be seen, and his bones that were not seen sticketh out. Yea, his soul draweth near unto the grave, and his life to the destroyers. If there be a messenger with him, an interpreter, one among 1,000, to shew unto man its uprightness, then he is gracious unto him, and saith, Deliver him from going down to the pit. I have found a ransom. His flesh shall be fresher than a child's. He shall return to the days of his youth. He shall pray unto God, and he will be favorable unto him. And he shall see his face with joy, for he will render unto man his righteousness. He looketh upon men, and if any say, I have sinned and perverted that which was right, and it profiteth me not, he will deliver his soul from going into the pit, and his life shall see the light. Lo, all these things worketh God oftentimes with man, to bring back his soul from the pit, to be enlightened with the light of the living. Mark well, O Job, hearken unto me, hold thy peace, and I will speak. If thou hast anything to say, answer me. Speak, for I desire to justify thee. If not, hearken unto me. Hold thy peace, and I shall teach thee wisdom.
Furthermore, Elihu answered and said, Hear my words, O ye wise men, and give ear unto me, ye have knowledge. For this the ear that trieth words as the mouth that tasteth meat. Let us choose to us judgment. Let us know among ourselves what is good. For Job had said, I am righteous, and God hath taken away my judgment. Should I lie against my right? My wound is that incurable without transgression. What man is like Job, who drinketh up scorning like water, which goeth in company with the workers of iniquity, and walketh with wicked men? For he hath said, It profiteth a man of nothing that he should delight himself with God. Therefore hearken unto me, ye men of understandings. Far be it from God that he should do wickedness, and from the Almighty that he should commit iniquity. For the work of a man shall he render unto him, and cause every man to find according to his ways. Yea, surely God will not do wickedly, neither will the Almighty pervert judgment. Who hath given him a charge over the earth, or who hath disposed the whole world? If he set his heart upon man, if he gather unto himself his spirit and his breath, all flesh shall perish together, and man shall turn again unto dust. If now that thou hast understanding, hear this, hearken to the voice of my words. Shall even he that hateth of that right govern? And wilt thou that condemn him that is most just? Is it fit to say to a king, Thou art wicked, and to princes, Ye are ungodly? How much less to him that accepteth not the persons of princes, nor regardeth the rich more than the poor? For they all are the work of his hands. In a moment shall they die, and the people shall be troubled, and midnight pass away, and the mighty shall be taken away without hand. For his eyes are upon the ways of man, and he seeth all his goings. There is no darkness, nor shadow of death, where the workers of iniquity may hide themselves. For he will not lay upon man more than right, that he should enter into judgment with God. He that say by this that break in these pieces mighty men without number, set by others in this the stead, therefore knoweth their works, and this overturneth them in the night, so that they now are destroyed. He striketh them with wicked men, and opened their sight to others, because they turned back from him, and this would not consider any of his ways, so that they now cause the cry by the poor that come unto him, and heareth the cry by this afflicted. When this giveth quietness, who now can this make trouble? And when he hideth his face, who then can behold him? Whether it be done against a nation or against a man only. Hypocrite, reign not, lest the people be ensnared. Surely it is meet to be said unto God, I have borne chastisement, and will be this offend not any more. That now which I see, not teach thou me. If I have done iniquity, I will do no more. Should it be according to thy mind, and recompensate of it, whether it be refused, or thus whether choose, or not, by therefore speak, thou which knowest. Let men of understanding tell me, and let a wise man hearken unto me. Job had spoken without knowledge, and his words were without wisdom. My desire is that Job may be tried unto the end, because of his answers for wicked men. For he addeth rebellion unto his sin. He clappeth his hands among us, and multiplieth his words against God.
Elihu spake moreover and said, Thinkest thou this to be right, that thou saidst, My righteousness is more than God's? For thou saidst, What advantage will it be unto thee? And what profit shall I have if I be cleansed from my sin? I will answer thee and thy companions with thee. Look unto the heavens and see, and behold the clouds which are higher than thou. If thou sinnest, what doest thou against him? Or if thy transgressions be multiplied, what doest thou unto him? If thou be righteous, what givest thou him? Or what receiveth he of thine hand? Thy wickedness may hurt a man as thou art, and thy righteousness may profit the Son of Man. By reason of the multitude of oppressions, they make the oppressed to cry. They cry out by reason of the arm of the mighty. But none saith, Where is God my Maker, who giveth songs in the night? Who teacheth us more than the beast of the earth, and maketh us wiser than the fowls of heaven? There they cry, but none giveth answer, because of the pride of evil men. Surely God will not hear vanity, neither will the Almighty regard it. Although thou sayest thou shalt not see him, yet judgment is before him. Therefore trust thou in him. But now, because it is not so, he hath visited in his anger, yet he knoweth it not in great extremity. Therefore doth Job open his mouth in vain, he multiplieth words without knowledge.
Elihu now also proceeded and said, Suffer me a little, and I will show thee that I have yet to speak on God's behalf. I will fetch my knowledge from afar, and will ascribe righteousness to my Maker. For truly my words shall not be false. He that is perfect in knowledge is with thee. Behold, God is mighty, and despiseth not any. He is mighty in strength and wisdom. He preserveth not the life of the wicked, but giveth right to the poor. He withdraweth not his ears, that the eyes righteous, but with this kings by that the throne, that yea, that doth that this establish them forever, and they are exalted. And if they be bound in fetters, and be holden in cords of affliction, then he showeth them their work and their transgressions, and they have exceeded. He opened also their ear to discipline, and commandeth that they return from iniquity. If they obey and serve him, they shall spend their days in prosperity, and their years in pleasures. But if they obey not, they shall perish by the sword, and they shall die without knowledge. But the hypocrites in the heart heap by this now be wrath of that cry not when this he bind them. They die in youth, and their life is among the unclean. He delivered the poor in his affliction, and openeth their ears in oppression. Even so would he have removed thee out of this the strait unto the broad place, which were there no straightness, and that there which wood should this set on thy table, and would be full of fatness. But thou hast fulfilled the judgment of the wicked, judgment, and the justice take hold on thee. Because there is wrath, beware of this that hath lest thee that take thee away from with his stroke, then a great ransom cannot deliver thee. Will he esteem thy riches? No, nor gold, nor all the forces of strength. Desire not the night when people are cut off in their place. Take heed, regard not iniquity, for his has this that chosen rather than that affliction. Behold, God exalteth by his power, who teacheth like him? Who hath enjoined him his way? Or who can say, Thou hast wrought iniquity? Remember that thou magnify his work, which men behold. Every man may see it, man may behold it afar off. Behold, God is great, and we know him not, neither can the number of his years be searched out. For he now maketh small the drops of water, they pour down rain according to the vapor thereof, which the clouds do drop and distill upon man abundantly. Also can any understanding the spreadings of the clouds or the noise of the tabernacle? Behold, the spreadeth of his light upon it, and covereth the bottom of the sea. For by them judgeth he the people. He giveth meat in abundance. With clouds he covered the light, and commandeth it not to shine by the cloud that cometh betwixt. The noise thereof showeth concerning it, the cattle also concerning the vapor.
At this also my heart trembleth, and is moved out of his place. Hear attentively the noise of his voice, and the sound that goeth out of his mouth. He directeth it under the whole heaven, and his lightning unto the ends of the earth. After it a voice roareth. He thundereth with the voice of his excellency, and he will not stay them when his voice is heard. God thundereth marvelously with his voice. Great things doeth he, which we cannot comprehend. For he saith to the snow, Be thou on the earth, likewise to the small rain, and to the great rain of his strength. He sealeth up the hand of every man, and all men may know his work. Then the beasts go into dens and remain in their places. Out of the south cometh the whirlwind, and cold out of the north. By the breath of God frost is given, and by the breath of waters is straitened. Also by watering he wearieth the thick cloud. He scattereth his bright cloud, and is turned round about by his counsels, that they may do whatsoever he commandeth them upon the face of the world and the earth. He causeth it to come, whether for correction or for land, or for mercy. Hearken unto this, O Job. Stand still, and consider the wondrous works of God. Dost thou know when God disposed them, and caused the light of his cloud to shine? Dost thou know the balance of the clouds, the wondrous works of him which is perfect in knowledge? How thy garments are warm, when he quieteth the earth by the south wind. Hast thou with him spread out the sky, which is strong, and as a molten looking glass? Teach us what we shall say unto him, for we cannot order our speech by reason of darkness. Shall it be told him that I speak? If a man speak, surely he shall be swallowed up. And now men see not the bright light which is in the clouds, but the wind passeth and cleaneth them. Fair weather cometh out of the north. With God is terrible majesty. Touching the Almighty, we cannot find him out. He is excellent in power and in judgment and in plenty of justice. He will not afflict. Men do therefore fear him. He respecteth not any that are wise of heart.
Then the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind and said, Who is this that darkened the counsel by words without knowledge? Gird up now thy loins like a man, for I will this demand of thee, and answer thou me. Where wast thou when I laid the foundations of the earth? Declare, if thou hast understanding. Who hath laid the measures thereof, if thou knowest? Or who hath stretched the line upon it? Whereupon are the foundations thereof fastened? Or who laid the cornerstone thereof? When the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of God shouted for joy? Or who shut up the sea with doors, when it brake forth as if it had issued out of the womb? There that when I make this cloud the garment thereof, and the thick darkness a swaddling band for it, and break up for it my decreed of that place, of that come by that set bars and doors. And say by hereunto that shalt thou come, but no further, and here shall the proud waves be stayed. Hast thou commanded the morning since thy days, and caused the day spring of that know his place, that it might take hold of the ends of the earth, that the wicked might be shaken out of it? It is turned as clay to the seal, as they stand as a garment. And from the wicked their light is withholden, and there the high arm shall be broken. Hast thou entered into the springs of the sea, or hast thou walked in search of the depth? Have the gates of the death been opened unto thee, or hast thou seen the doors of the shadow of death? Hast thou perceived the breadth of this the earth? Declare if thou knowest it all. Where is the way where light dwelleth? And as for darkness, where is the place thereof? That thou shouldst take it to the bound of that thereof, of that come by thee, that thou should know, as the paths to the house thereof. Knowest thou it because thou wast then born, or because the number of thy days is great? Hast thou entered into the treasures of this the snow, or hast thou seen the treasuries of that the hail, which I have reserved against this the time of trouble, against the day of battle and war? By what way is the light parted, which scattereth the east wind upon the earth? Who hath divided a watercourse for the overflowing of waters, or the way of the lightnings of thunder? To cause it now to rain on this the earth, where no man is, on the wilderness wherefore there is no man. Satisfy the desolate and waste ground, and cause this the bud to tender, and the herb to spring forth? Hath the rain of a father, or who hath begotten of the drops of dew? Out of whose womb came the ice, and this the ore of the frost of that come by this heaven, and this which hath generated of that gendered it, that now waters be hid as with this a stone, and the face of the deep is frozen. Canst thou bind the sweet influences of Pleiades, of that are loosed by this the bands of Orion? For these that come by this now come as Mazareth in his season. Or canst thou guide Arcturus of that which is the sun's? Knowest thou that this is ordinances of heaven? Canst thou set dominion thereof in the earth? Canst thou lift up thy voice in the clouds? The abundance of waters may now cover of thee, for canst descend of lightnings, that they may go and say unto thee, Here we are. Who hath put wisdom in the inward parts, or who hath given understanding to the heart? Who can number the clouds in wisdom, or who can stay in the bottles of heaven? When the dust that groweth unto hardness, and this the clods cleave fast together, wilt thou hunt of the prey for the lion, or fill the appetite of the young lions? When they now couch of that there that dens, are they that abide now in this covert, to this the lie in wait? Who provideth for this the raven his food? When his young ones cry unto God, they wander for lack of meat.
Knowest thou the time when the wild goats of the rock bring forth, or canst thou mark when the hinds do calve? Canst thou number the months that they fulfill, or knowest thou the time when they bring forth? They bow themselves, they bring forth their young ones, they cast out their sorrows. Their young ones are in good liking. They grow up with corn. They go forth and return not unto them. Who hath sent out the wild ass free? Or who hath loosed the bands of the wild ass? Whose house have I made the wilderness, and the barren land his dwellings? He scorneth the multitude of the city, neither regardeth he the crying of the driver. The range of the mountains is his pasture, and he searcheth after every green thing. Will the unicorn be willing to serve thee, or abide by thy crib? Canst thou bind the unicorn with his band in the furrow? Or will he harrow the valleys after thee? Wilt thou trust him because his strength is so great? Or wilt thou leave thy labor to him? Wilt thou believe him that he will bring home thy seed and gather it unto the barn? Gavest thou the goodly wings unto the peacocks, or the wings and feathers unto the ostrich, which leaveth her eggs in the earth, and warmeth them in dust, and forgetteth that the foot may crush them, or that the wild beast may break them? She is hardened against her young ones, as though they were not hers. Her labor is in vain without fear, because God hath deprived her of wisdom, neither hath he imparted to her understanding. What time she lifteth up herself on high, she scorneth the horse and his rider. Hast thou given the horse his strength? Hast thou clothed his neck with thunder? Canst thou make him afraid as a grasshopper? The glory of his nostrils is terrible. He paweth in the valley, and rejoiceth in his strength. He goeth on to meet the armed men. He mocketh at fear, and is not affrighted. Neither turneth he back from the sword. The quiver rattleth against him, and glittering spear and shield. He swallowed the ground with fierceness and rage, neither believeth he that it is the sound of the trumpet. He saith among the trumpets, Ha, ha, and he smelleth the battle afar off, and the thunder of the captains and the shouting. Doth the hawk fly by thy wisdom, and stretch her wings toward the south? Doth the eagle mount up at thy command, and make her nest on high? She dwelleth and abideth on the rock, upon the crag of the rock, and the strong place. From thence she seeketh the prey, and her eyes behold afar off. Her young ones also suck up blood, and where the slain are, there is she.
Moreover, the Lord answered Job and said, Shall he that contendeth with the Almighty instruct him? He that reproveth that God, let him now answer it. Then Job answered the Lord and said, Behold, I am vile. What shall I answer thee? I will lay my hand upon my mouth. Once have I spoken, but I will not answer. Yea, twice, but I will proceed no further. Then answered the Lord unto Job out of the whirlwind and said, Gird up thy loins now like a man. I will demand of thee, and declare thou unto me. Wilt thou also disannul that my judgment? Wilt thou condemn me, that thou mayest that now be righteous? Hast thou an arm like God, or canst thou thunder with a voice like him? Deck thyself now with majesty and excellency, and array thyself with glory and beauty. Cast abroad the rage of thy wrath, and behold every one that is proud, and abase him. Look on every one that is proud, and bring him low, and this tread down, and the wicked in their place. Hide them in the dust together, and bind their faces in secret. Then will I also confess unto thee that thine own right hand can serve thee. Behold, now, behemoth which I have made with thee, he eateth grass as an ox. Lo now, his strength is in his loins, and his force is in his navel of his belly. He moveth his tail like a cedar, and sinews of that his stones are wrapped all together. His bones are as strong pieces of brass. His bones are like bars of iron. He is the chief of the ways of God. He that make him can make this the sword to approach it unto him. Surely the mountains bring him with forth this food, where all the beasts and this the field play. He lieth under this the shady trees, and covert of this the reed by this the fens, and so shady trees cover him with the shadow. The willows of the brook compass him about. Behold, he drinketh up a river, and hasteth not. He thirsteth, but this that he can draw by this now, this of trusting of that Jordan. Now this is into his mouth. Take by this now your eyes. He now this is his noise. Of this that be a nose that pierce through the snares.
Canst thou draw out Leviathan with a hook, or his tongue with a cord which thou lettest down? Canst thou put a hook into his nose, or bore his jaw through with a thorn? Will he make supplications unto thee? Will he speak soft words unto thee? Will he make a covenant with thee? Will he take him for a servant forever? Wilt thou take him for a servant forever? Wilt thou play with him as with a bird, or wilt thou bind him for thy maidens? Shall the companions make a banquet of him? Shall they part him among the merchants? Canst thou fill his skin with barbed irons, or his head with fish spears? Lay thine hand upon him. Remember the battle. Do no more. Behold, the hope of him is in vain. Shall not one be cast down even at the sight of him? None is so fierce that dare stir him up. Who then is able to stand before me? Who hath prevented me that I should repay him? Whatsoever is under the whole heaven is mine. I will not conceal his parts, nor his power, nor his comely proportion. Who can discover the face of his garment, or who can come to him with his double bridle? Who can open the doors of his face? His teeth are terrible round about. His scales are his pride, shut up together as with a close seal. One is so near to another that no air can come between them. They are joined one to another. They stick together that they cannot be sundered. By his neesings a light doth shine, and his eyes are like the eyelids of the morning. Out of his mouth go burning lamps, and sparks of fire leap out. Out of his nostrils goeth smoke, as out of the seething pot or cauldron. His breath kindleth coals, and a flame goeth out of his mouth. In his neck remaineth strength, and sorrow is turned into joy before him. The flakes of his flesh are joined together. They are firm in them. They cannot be moved. His heart is as firm as a stone, yea, as hard as a piece of the nether millstone. When he raiseth up himself, the mighty are afraid. By reason of breakings they purify themselves. The sword of him that layeth at him cannot hold, the spear, the dart, nor the habergeon. He esteemeth iron as straw, and brass as rotten wood. The arrow cannot make him flee. Slingstones are turned with him into stubble. Darts are counted as stubble. He laugheth at the shaking of a spear. Sharp stones are under him. He spreadeth sharp pointed things upon the mire. He maketh the deep to boil like a pot. He maketh the sea like a pot of ointment. He maketh a path to shine after him. One would think the deep to be hoary. Upon earth there is not his like, who is made without fear. He beholdeth all high things. He is a king over all the children of pride.
Then Job answered the Lord and said, I know that thou canst do everything, and that no thought can be withholden from thee. Who is he that hideth counsel without knowledge? Therefore have I uttered that I understand not. Things too wonderful for me which I knew not. Hear, I beseech thee, and I will speak. I will demand of these, and declare thou unto me. I have heard of thee by the hearing of the ear, but now my eyes seeth thee. Wherefore I abhor of this myself, and repent in dust and ashes. And it is so that after this the Lord had spoken these words unto Job, the Lord said to Eliphaz the Temanite, My wrath is kindled against thee, and against thy two friends, for ye have not spoken of me the thing that is right, as my servant Job hath. Therefore take unto you now 7 bullocks, 7 rams, and go to my servant Job, and offer up for yourselves a burnt offering, and my servant Job shall pray for you. For him will I accept, lest I deal with you after your folly, in that ye have not spoken of me the thing which is right, like my servant Job. So Eliphaz the Temanite, that come by Bildad, and the Shumite, which is that of Zophar, and the Naamanite, which is that went, did according to this as the Lord commanded them. And the Lord also accepted Job. And the Lord turned of this captivity of Job, of that now prayed for his friends. Also by the Lord gave Job twice as much as he had before. Then came thence this unto him all of his brethren, and all his sisters, and all they that had been of his acquaintance before, and did eat bread with him in his house. And they bemoaned at him, as this comforted him over all the evil that the Lord had brought upon him. Every man also gave him a piece of money, and every one an earring of gold. So now the Lord blessed the latter end of Job more than his beginning, for he had 14,000 sheep, 6,000 camels, and 1,000 yoke of oxen, and 1,000 she-asses. He had also 7 sons and 3 daughters. And he called the names of the first Jemima, and the name of the second Keziah, and the name of the third Kerenhabatha, which is this that is all of this land, that now were no woman found so fair as the daughters of Job, and her father gave them inheritance above that of the brethren. After this lived Job 140 years, and saw his sons and his sons' sons, even 4 generations. So Job died, being old and full of days. All right, guys, we got through Job, and I hope you did with us. That is one book of the Bible that I love to read, and I'm glad we did it all at once, because it's one that's hard to take in. You all probably can relate to Job, and I pray for you that no matter what goes wrong, you remember who's always in control.
That's right. And we want to give a special shout out to Glenn for staying with us. He listened the whole time.
Well, I'm glad that you did that, and God bless you. In fact, let's say a special prayer, and want to thank everybody for being with us and for being with us through that. I feel like I've lived Job a lot. I have a seizure disorder, and it's been really hard for me, so everybody's prayers is appreciated. But this week, going into Job, what an appropriate week. It's been 17 years since I've been allowed to drive or do anything, and they just told me that I could start driving again yesterday. So this was appropriate ending, because perhaps the last part of my life will be better than the first. I know it will be if I give it to God.
Amen.
So Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Thine are the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever, Lord. You are the one who makes it rain. You are the one who makes us. You are the one in control. And though my life may seem hard, nothing is too difficult for you, and I'm never alone. Lord, we thank you for everyone in Truth Inspired. We pray that it continues to grow and it continues to do what it needs to do for others. And we just give it all to you tonight, thanking you that we were able to read Job. And I pray it touched others as we did so. Protect us and keep us safe. In Jesus' name I'm praying.
Lord Jesus, I thank you for blessing us this evening and enabling us to get through reading the book of Job. This was a challenge to be able to get through it, and I think a couple times I know I misread some parts by accident, but hopefully everyone who came through the live stream got something out of it and we're blessed. And we ask that anyone who comes through Truth Inspired, that you bless them. And the goal of this whole thing is to point to you always. And we ask that you help us to always stay fixed on you, no matter what storms we're going through in life. We can walk on water if our eyes stay fixed on you, Lord Jesus. We humbly ask for your blessing, your goodness, and your mercy, and your love. In your sacred name we pray. Amen. Thank you again, everyone who joined us. And Glenn, Pete, thanks so much for joining us. And that was a challenge. We were reading for over 2 hours, so
we do that sometimes. It's like a catch up. Usually, though, if you read 10 pages a night for about 6 to 9 months, you're going to be done with the Bible. But the goal is to get it, we want to make sure we're reading it so other people can follow. I apologize also. I'm not good with these names. That's one thing I'm not good with. But I do love to read it, and I'm careful. It's very easy to stumble on your words. But you know what? It's quite something, because you'll see a lot of the stuff you read happen in the very week that you're reading it.
Right.
Like I said, this week, this applied to something in my life. I was amazed how my life flipped, because I had everything, and then a sickness knocked me down from everything. And yet now here I see it starting to change again, and we just finished reading Job.
Right. And one last thing I want to say, I don't think this person's in the live stream anymore, but somebody asked about Atticus Schaefer. Atticus is a guest of Truth Inspired, and we're greatly appreciative of him. Truth Inspired is not his ministry, but we've invited him to be a part of it on occasion. Anyone that wants to follow any of Atticus's social media, you can go to YouTube or Instagram and look up Atticus Schaefer. And but we're blessed to have him on here and give him an opportunity to share his faith, because that's what it's about. It's about people coming together and sharing their faith. It's not about any one particular person. It's about anybody that wants to point towards Jesus, so that we can help people in this world that are kind of lost. They really are lost. They're not kind of lost, they are lost. And sometimes we stray, we stumble, and we need somebody to say, kind of put their hand on our face and say, hey, look, there's the prize. Keep your eyes on the prize. It's to be with Jesus one day in heaven.
And it's something, because I tell you, we want your testimonies also. Feel free to message us and let us know what you've been through. We'd love to hear it. That's what Truth Inspired is. We want to share testimonies. We want to be inspired by one another, but not just by, oh, things are going great. No, we want to hear how you've been down and God's brought you back up again. We want to hear about how you were saved, or how you were with someone and you spread the gospel and they too said a sinner's prayer. Someone that maybe you brought to church with you and they ended up bowing down and accepting Christ as their personal Savior. We want to hear about how you've seen a miracle, and if you've seen what's happened. I mean, I can tell you I've seen cancer taken away from people. And I'm seeing right now something that's taken me almost 20 years of my life is being changed by something I never thought was possible, and was losing faith. I kept praying and others for me, and I see a difference. And you guys can see a difference too. And we want to inspire one another, because this world needs inspiration.
Absolutely.
So, again, Father in heaven, be with all of us and bless us always and forever. Truth Inspired, growing and doing what you need us to do. In Jesus' name we pray. A good afternoon, and keep being with us always and forever. Amen. Guys, that's what we call Truth Inspired.